Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the All Jokes Aside podcast. My name is Kobe, and joining me today, as always, is my sleepy, eepy co-host.
Hey guys, it's Maria. How y'all doing? Yeah, I'm so sleepy tonight. I don't know why, but it's okay. We're gonna have a fun episode tonight.
Yeah, today's gonna be all shits and gigs. Um, we are talking about our high school story, or like high school story stuff we remember from high school. Maybe some stuff from middle school in there. I
Yeah,
have a
sort of
couple of
say
things.
maybe kind of just school in general, I
Yeah, I
guess.
have a couple of things from middle school that like peek out. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
Before we get silly, I do want to to preface this episode by saying that this episode's dedicated to our a friend of ours that passed away a couple of years ago. Um, so this episode is dedicated to Joseph Murphy. Rest in peace, buddy, and I hope your family's doing all right.
Yep, 100%.
All right. Well, do you want to start off today, or do you want me to start?
Um, I can start off. So, I know we were kind of the reason we did the episode based on this tonight was because me and you had a conversation the other night and we were like laughing, talking about different stories and stuff from school. And
Hmm.
I said, Kobe, let's just like stop talking about this and we'll talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to start off by telling the story about um also we need to we're gonna say names that are not their actual names to protect people.
Yeah.
um,
I think we'll know who
so
we're talking about, though.
yeah, like if you know like people that went to school with us that's listening to this, they're definitely gonna know who we're talking about. They're probably
Yeah.
gonna put two and two together.
If you know, you know.
Um, yep. So okay, let's start off with Miss D's class.
Hmm.
Um,
What grade is
I
this?
remember this was eighth grade, wasn't it? Because you were in there with me. It was social studies.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So, and guys, also, I'm using fake names here, okay? So, this guy,
Don't sue us.
yeah, so bear with me. Um, the guy that sat behind me's name was RJ.
Good old
And then
RJ.
beside, yeah, so, and then Kobe sat beside RJ.
Yep.
Okay. And like the classroom was so weird. Like it was split up in half and like she had us in rows of three.
Hmm.
And remember we were like catty cornered, like facing her
But yes,
and
we were in the corner of the room.
right. And we were facing the other people as well. Like on the other side of the room. Like it was a really, really weird layout.
Hmm.
But so this was social studies and we had to what was it the proclamation or something like that we had to memorize and we had to get up in front of the class and say it.
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
the Oh my gosh, what do you
it's
call
like
it?
the we the people were that, yeah. um this was a long
No,
time
that's
ago,
the
so
Constitution.
I'm pretty sure it was that we the people though.
No, it was the Gettysburg Address.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the Gettysburg Address. It was what Abraham Lincoln said when he ended slavery, the fourscore and 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not really relevant, but
Yeah, sorry.
so no, you're good. So
Well, it is
you
relevant
know
because okay,
it
so for
is.
this story, because I know what story you're telling. For this story, every student had to get up and go in front of the classroom and recite the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah.
And our
So
Miss D was calling. I think she was just calling people by random. I don't really know how she was doing it.
Yeah. And if you were acting out, then she was like, "You go."
You're next. Yeah.
This teacher was very blunt too, y'all. Like she
Yes.
was a little bit older, and she did not give two shits. Like she was just like so done with life all the time. Like she was literally in a Squidward.
Yes.
Like,
But like in the best
but
way possible. I loved this teacher.
yes,
She was
no, yes,
awesome.
we loved her. She was
She was
amazing
so funny.
for sure. So RJ sat behind me, and he was a really big cut up. Like he was definitely probably like the
Oh yeah,
class
he was
clown.
the class clown. He thought he was so funny, and to granted, he was sometimes, but he was just very loud, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
And he went a little far with stuff too.
He did. He was kind of awful.
Sometimes.
I really don't like him, but like, school would have been different if he wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, so he had a friend in that class that was on the opposite side of the room. But we were sort of kind of close. They were probably like 8 feet away from one another. 10 feet, 8 feet away from one another. And this other guy's name was named
Larry.
Kevin. Larry. So Larry and RJ kept, whispering, and I sit right in front of RJ, so I hear everything that RJ is saying because he can't mouth stuff to Larry. He has to whisper it too. So I hear everything he's saying. So I think I had already went at this point, so I wasn't like as stressed anymore or nervous about getting up in front of the class. Um, so I was just kind of, chilling, and I think RJ had already went because I feel like he wouldn't have been cutting up as much as he was, like joking around and stuff.
He
But anyway,
definitely did not
Larry,
know it. He did not. He did not memorize it at
yeah,
all.
no. So Larry had like this look on his face all of a sudden. And I remember RJ going, "What, what, Larry? What?" And Larry just like his eye, like it looks like he's seen a ghost. And to me, I'm thinking, I'm in 8th grade. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what are they talking about? And RJ goes, what? What? Mind you, there's someone up at the class struggling to say this Gettysburg Address, and Larry's over here with like his legs crossed. Anyway, let's just say that Larry had a guy issue going on. Um,
His little Larry was excited.
yeah. So, of course, the person that was up front got done around that time, and they finished saying it. Well, Miss D was like, "Larry, what are you doing? Like, why are you acting like that?" And Larry looked over at RJ. He goes, "No, no, no, no." And then RJ's like, look at Larry." And sure enough, Miss D made him get up in front of the class with his little excited Larry, and it was just so funny. Like you had to have been there, but it was
Keep
just
in mind,
that
we
is
are
a
in the
day that,
eighth grade, so we're all like 13 at this point.
yeah, like I don't know, y'all. It was I will forever remember that story. When I think of middle school, that is like one of the most popular stories that comes to my mind because it was so funny. And I remember looking back at Kobe, and you were dying laughing.
It was funny.
But anyway, what kind of story you got?
I want to try. Okay, I think we should start with our middle school stories and then go to our high school stories because I don't want
Hmm.
to keep going back and forth. Um, so neither me or you were present for this, but that same teacher, Miss D, one morning. So this is middle school, and our middle school was like a prison. Like they did not let us have it was there was no fun allowed. Like
It was the principal.
yes, our principal was awful. It really felt like a prison. Like all the way up till eighth grade, like up until our freshman year of high school, we had to walk in a straight line. We couldn't talk in the hallway. It was awful. Well, anyways, in the morning time, they would do the morning announcements, and then the teacher, your homeroom teacher, would read out like the lunch menu of the day and everything. Well, like I said, me and Maria had the same. We were in the same homeroom class in eighth grade. We weren't in this class, but this story spread so fast to everybody. Like everybody knew about this by like
Teachers knew.
yeah, the teachers knew too. But like this story spread, but everybody knew the story by the end of the next day. Like everybody knew. Um, but anyways, Miss D, she kind of talks like this. Like she's very monotonous when she speaks. So she's reading off the lunch menu today, and today for lunch we're having chicken shits. I mean strips. And again,
Oh
it's
my
it's
gosh.
not super funny, but you have to remember time and place. We are all 13, so everybody was cracking up. Everybody hearing the teacher say shit was the funniest thing in the world. Um,
And mind you too, like this teacher, she's well known in our little town. Like
yes,
everybody knows everybody. Like everybody knew who she was. So like you just don't hear about those type of teachers saying stuff like that in front of their students.
right. All right, I have another
So
story too. While we're at eighth grade. Okay, so I don't remember why. I think it might have been for like Valentine's Day or my birthday or something like that. My mom used to send like gifts to like me and my sisters when it was like Valentine's Day and our birthday and stuff, and she'd give us like little like candy care packages and like Oreos and stuff like that. Like only on like birthday Valentine's type deal.
right.
Well, I don't remember which one it was, but I do remember my mom giving me a little thing of candy, and in it was like a little like care package of candy, and in there was this. It was like a big box of nerds.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. So I get this big box of nerds, right? And this is eighth grade, and I think our seating changed like every couple of weeks, but I think for Miss D's class, I just have so many memories of her class because her class was the best. Um, but I think for Miss D's class, I think we only had two different seating charts, or we only changed it like one time. But I remember sitting near you, like I sat near you, and no, yeah, I sat next to you. RJ sat behind you. Behind me was Lindsay. You know what I'm talking about?
Hmm.
Yep. And then in front of me was
SpongeBob.
is that what we're gonna call her?
Oh no, I thought it was somebody else.
No, it's I'm trying to think of something similar. We'll just call her Kate.
Okay, I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. So Kate sat in front of me and Lindsay sat behind me. Well, I don't know. I was kind of weird in middle school. I mean, we all were. You're preteen, whatever.
You're
I
figuring
get
out who you are.
yeah. Yes, definitely. It took me a couple years. Um, but I had this box of Nerds, and that eighth grade was the year that I found out that Nerds was my favorite candy. Right. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
had this box with me, and I would just keep it in my backpack, and I would pull it out, and I mean, it's Nerds, it's candy, and that big box, I just ate it at school when I was hungry because I wasn't the type to really eat at school or like bring snacks or anything. So I would just pull that out in class and just snack on Nerds all the time. But it got to a point where I would turn around to Lindsay, and I go, "Hey, Lindsay, you want some Nerds?" And she'd go, "No, Kobe, I'm okay." And I'd say, "All right." And I'd turn back around. And a couple minutes later, I'd turn around and I'd go, "Hey, Lindsay, you want some nerds?"
Oh
I,
my
I would do this
gosh.
all the time. And then we'd be sitting in the middle of class, and I'd be eating my nerds, and I'd turn and look at Maria, and I'd just pick up a nerd and just throw it at her.
Oh, and you want to talk about nerds? I remember in middle school when, um, so we had library classes like an
I knew you
extra
were gonna
class.
bring this up.
So, and this is the point in time where I was in beta club and I was having to get like those community hours or whatever, and it was so hard to get them at school. So I would do like the most random shit for different teachers. And I remember our library teacher was like, "Well, you can vacuum the library." And I said, "Okay, yeah, I can do that." Um, and I just remember you throwing nerds at me that day, like earlier that day in library. And that afternoon, I went in there to vacuum. There were nerds everywhere. Everywhere. And I remember the librarian was like, "Maria, who? Someone likes nerds." And I said, "Yeah, I know exactly who it is, too."
I do
But
like me some nerds.
that was kind of funny because every time that vacuum from the 1980s would pick up a nerd, it'd go and it'd make the loudest sound ever.
Maria, speaking of school, we need to tell the story of how we met.
Yes,
All right, so this was first grade.
I thought it was second.
No, it was first grade because we had the same homeroom second, so of course we knew each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
word.
So this is first grade. For context, I'm a very, very picky eater. I never ate a school lunch in my entire life. Um, I'm still very picky to this day. Well,
Mhm.
I would never eat school lunch. I hated it. I despised it. Wouldn't do it. I think I did it one time, and only because they had like one of those, like, you remember the orange and grape popsicles that they would have, and they were like,
Yes, yes.
yeah, and they were like triangular shaped, kind of, but like
Mhm.
interchangeable. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Yep.
Um, I got my lunch one day just to get one of those. But anyways,
Word.
I used to bring my lunch to school every single day, and so my mom would buy me a new lunchbox every couple of years or like every year or so. Uh, so in the first grade, the lunchbox that she bought me, it was a Kung Fu Panda lunchbox. It was just like red and black, and then it had like a Kung Fu Panda, like it was like a movie poster kind of like art
A
on it.
sticker. It was
Yeah,
like
it
a
was like
sticker.
sort of kind of. I don't know like I don't know the what it's made of, but like it felt like very like stickery to the touch. But
It was
anyways,
like a hard rubber though, the actual lunchbox. It was like not rubber, but it was hard plastic.
right. Well, I'm bringing my lunch to school today, and like I did every day, and we're in the cafeteria, and I look over and see this girl like as we're getting up to leave because they call us up to leave all at the same time for like the same grade, and you'd like line up and get in separate lines, and then you'd have to wait for everybody to like dump their tray and get in the line, and the teacher would wait, and then you'd all like go out at different times. Well, I look over and there's a girl in this other line, and she has the exact same Kung Fu Panda lunchbox that I do, like the exact same one. And
I wonder who it was.
we see each other, and we start like pointing at our lunchboxes and like waving them at each other, and like we would do this every single day.
Mhm.
Little did we know that would be the start of a like what 15-year long friendship.
Yep. What did you have in your lunchbox?
I used to like food.
Mhm.
It was usually like a peanut butter sandwich and like maybe some like gummies or like Teddy Grahams or like stuff like that,
Mhm.
or like
I always,
sometimes like leftover pizza.
yeah. I always brought like the nacho cheese Lunchables.
Oh yeah, I did Lunchables a lot.
Lunchables, and then my mom would always pack me a Rice Krispie treat.
Hmm.
That was one of the things she put in there.
Okay. Do you have another story for middle school?
Don't really have any for middle school, I don't think.
I have a couple more that I want to run through really fast.
Okay.
Okay, so I wasn't there for this story, but Lindsay that I was talking about earlier was, and she is mainly the person that when I talk to about this story, or like when I'm talking about the story, she's the person that I mainly like reference and talk to because she was there. So this was in the 6th grade. There was a guy in our class. Let's call him um I'll call him Greg because I can't think of anything else. So I'll call him Greg. Um, Greg is in this class, and in the sixth, he was taller than most people in our class. Um, at that point, he still is. He's like 6 foot something now. Um, but do you know who I'm talking about? By the way,
You're talking about camo?
no. Uh,
No.
I think you'll know once I tell the story. Well, anyways,
Okay.
I'm not in this class that Lindsay and Greg are in, but Lindsay told me this story. She's told me the story so many times, but they were having some sort of we were having to do some sort of project where you got up and spoke in front of the class again, and I think Lindsay was going, and then Greg was going after her. Well, Lindsay Lindsay is by the teacher. She's near the teacher. Um, Greg is he's in a pissy mood, and the teacher tells him to do something, and he doesn't want to do it, and she keeps like, son, you need to do this right now, like when you do what you're told, blah blah blah. Greg gets so angry that he proceeds to get up, picks up his desk, and
Oh,
like
oh
aims
no,
it.
Kobe, I was in there.
You ran there?
Yes.
Okay, you know who Greg is then.
Yes.
Okay, you tell the
Yeah,
story
because
then. I didn't
I,
know you
rem-
were there for
I
that.
I remember. What's a good name for her?
The teacher?
No, we were just talking about her the other night. Um,
Bailey?
yeah, Bailey
Hmm.
was in there, and she was like, "Duck!" That was what she yelled. She yelled, "Duck!" And he picked that desk up over his head, and he was going to throw it. And I'm pretty sure some guy came up behind him and grabbed it out of his hand. He was like, "You need to calm down, dude. It's not that serious." It was seventh grade English or sixth grade English.
Yeah. I just can't believe that someone would pick up their desk and aim it at the teacher. I mean, to be so fair though, that teacher deserved it. I couldn't stand her.
Oh
She
no,
used to
yeah,
she used to treat me like garbage. I think I got her fired.
she was. Yeah, she was.
'Cause sixth grade,
I
I was
didn't.
having 6th grade was my worst year of school ever. 6th grade was I was at my lowest. And I
Yeah,
remember she used to treat me awful. Like I remember one time in her class, I dropped my pencil and I literally like it wasn't on purpose. I was doing my work and my pencil slipped out of my hand and it fell on the floor and I got up to pick it up and she yelled at me for that. She yelled at me for dropping my pencil. Like that happens sometimes, and especially on those desks where it's like slanted and you set your pencil down and it rolls off, you know what I mean? Like
hmm
it happens sometimes. And she yelled at me for dropping my pencil. Asshole.
she was very very clicky. Like if you
Yes.
had a certain last, you had to have a certain last name for her to
Or you had to
even
hang out with her
speak.
son.
Yeah, or acknowledge her, or she would
Yes.
acknowledge you. Yeah.
Yeah. I have I do have one more story. This is
Oh, I do too. I just thought of one.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. I think it was. I'm going to say her name because I know she won't care. This is not like an embarrassing story for her. So, Savannah, one of our good friends,
Uh-huh.
me and her were really, really close at this time. And I'm pretty sure this was 5th grade.
Uh-huh.
And this was math.
Yep, I was in there.
Yep, this story's about you.
Oh, I know what your story you're gonna tell.
So, it was math. And our teacher, she was so funny. Like,
She was
loved her
hilarious,
so
yes.
much. Yeah. So, we were actually taking a math test at the time, and I remember Kobe raised his hand and he asked to go to the bathroom.
I had to go so
Right?
bad.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to go. Like I was about to piss myself.
Yeah, and she wouldn't let you go because we were taking a test. Well, she was the type to walk around and, like, if you needed help with something, she would come over and, try and help you without telling you the answer.
Also,
So,
for context, we were taking this test in the dark, and she was using the projector.
mhm. Yeah, she had
That is
something
a that
projected.
yes, this is important for later.
Yeah. So Kobe raised his hand and she was like, "No, Kobe, you can't go to the bathroom. Like we're in the middle of a test. You should have went before." Well, I think you looked over at me and Savannah or something. Or I think you told Savannah, because Savannah had sat behind me. Well, I was focused taking this test. And I remember Savannah tapped on my shoulder and she was just dying laughing. She goes, "Maria, look at Kobe." And I looked back at your desk and you weren't there. I was like, "What the heck? Where's Kobe at?" And she goes, "Look, look at the door." And you were back there. You were crawling out of the classroom.
Piss my pants.
Kobe crawled out of the bath, and he didn't get caught. You did not
I
get caught.
I remember I asked her to use the bathroom, and she said no, and I got so pissed off. And I looked over at Savannah, and Savannah was looking at me, and she was like, she just kind of shrugged and was like, "Well," she said no.
Well, guess you're look.
And I look at her and I said, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom right now." I said, "Watch me." She said, "You are not." And I said, "Watch me." And I get down on all fours and I crawl my ass to the door. And
You crawled
I checked
so
again before I
slow,
crawled out, and I looked outside. There's nobody in the hallway. I crawled out and I just walked to the bathroom.
and she
And
never
then
caught you.
nope. And then I came back in and I crawled in. And
I'm pretty.
I remember people sitting close to the door being like, "What are you doing?" And I just looked at him and went, "I had to pee."
And I remember, I'm pretty sure I told her that story like years and years after. Like I seen her one day, and I was like, Kobe crawled out of the classroom one day because he had to go to the bathroom. And she just thought it was the funniest thing. And she said, "I didn't catch him." And I said, "No, you didn't." I said, "You never caught him. Nobody ever told on him. It was
Okay.
like,
We're still in that age where kids think it's so fun to like tattle on other kids, you know what I mean? And
mm-hmm.
I'm honestly shocked that nobody tattled on me because
I think,
that's how I used to get in trouble all the time in school. Is I would do something and then another kid would be like, "Kobe's doing this. Kobe's doing this." You mind your fucking business, you little shit.
yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not bothering anybody. I'm just trying to have fun. We go to fucking public school. It is not that serious.
No, we had so many tattlers in our class, like
We
our grade.
did. We did. It's because it's public school and we live in a nosy ass small town. Or we
Yep,
did.
yep.
Um anyways, I had a story that I was gonna tell. Um
Okay.
I don't remember. Um I'm trying to remember any more from middle school.
We can
But
always come back.
yeah. I'm trying to think. Hang on, let me look through because I wrote some stuff down and some of it had
Okay.
middle school too. So let
Well,
me
while you're
yeah.
looking,
Yep.
I'll tell a quick little story from high school. Um, So there was this girl named let's see, Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, like,
I know what I was gonna say now, and I think it's
listen,
about the
y'all.
same person. Go ahead.
I, I don't want to be mean. Like, I'm really not a mean person, but
Melissa did
it
it to
gets
herself, though.
it gets to a point.
Yeah.
Okay, like she was low key so gross. Like,
She's
and
disgusting.
and she could and she it's not like she couldn't take care of herself. Like, she could have taken care of herself. Like,
Okay.
she had the stuff to take care of herself.
I just want to say this too. Me and Maria in school, we were very nice in school. I feel like I feel like everybody, like when you're in school, you are a kid. Like you are a kid. Kids make fun of other kids. They do. Every kid, not every single kid, but every kid. I mean, even the nice kids that we went to school with, like, they were in on the inside jokes and they made passes and
Yes,
stuff. But I mean,
yes.
like, some kids are just weird and they have nicknames and they did it to themselves, or they never grew out of it because they never,
Or they owned it. Like, they owned it. Like, they flaunted it. Like, that was their personality, was being weird, and they wanted to
yeah,
be that way.
yeah.
Yeah,
But for context, Melissa, we called her Blue Fisha because she stank.
yeah.
We
Um,
called her Blue Fisha because she smelled like fish.
yeah. So Melissa one day,
You could just call her Blue
and y'all,
Fisha.
listen. I watched this shit with my own eyes. Okay, she, this is high school, y'all. Like, sophomore or junior year, I can't remember. Old enough to know that you don't do this. She stuck her hand down her butthole, and she was scratching. Like, she had an itch, and she pulled her hand out of her pants, looked at her fingernails, and then proceeded to bite her fingernails off.
She's so gross.
I'm
She also,
traumatized.
when I think of her, this girl used to break a bone. She would break a bone or have a sprain or something every year of school. She would always be in a cast or she'd be on crutches, and it got to the point where you just get annoyed at it, like you come to expect it. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Like
yep,
she would come in 5 years in a row on crutches, and it'd just be like, well.
yep.
And she didn't even like play sports either. Like I think she played basketball at some point, but I think that was
And
it.
softball. And softball, I think.
Yeah. She wasn't even like she played a little bit of sports, but she wasn't like an athlete. She
Mm-mm,
was not an athlete.
no.
Anyways, my story is about the same girl, Blue Fisher, calling her Blue Fisher. Um so in the seventh grade English, we had to read A Christmas Carol. And our teacher wanted us to do popcorn reading, where she would call on someone, or like for every like chapter or act or whatever you want to call it, she would assign people a character, and like so she assigned somebody to be the narrator, she'd assign somebody to be uh, Tiny Tim, and everybody else in A Christmas Carol, Scrooge. Um, I think Bluefish, Melissa, whatever you want to call her, she was the narrator or something. She was picked to read, and she didn't have like a speech impediment. She just when she was talking, she said this certain word wrong, and there was this guy in our class. I'll call him Wade. He was the class clown. He was always making jokes. He was always trying to make everybody laugh, and he was kind of annoying, but he also was actually really funny. Um, But anyways, he made so many inside jokes like with our entire like grade. I swear we had so many inside jokes about everything. Well, anyways, she's reading she's reading and she's trying to read the word silver, and she ends up saying civil, like that. And by the next period, Wade had already made an inside joke, and I don't know where it came from. He mashed it with some other joke or something, but he started calling it snickle, like she said snickle instead of civil. And he would say snickle all the time, and it became a thing for the rest of the year. He'd be like, "You want a snickle? You want some of my snickle?" And
Oh my god.
he would go up to her. He'd be like, "Hey, Blue." He would call her Blue. They did not call her Blue Fisher to her face, but everybody called her Blue Fisher. Um, he'd be he would go. He'd be like, you want a snickle? Can I have some of your snickle?" And she would get so mad. She used to blow her breath all the time because they would piss her off.
Yeah, and him and RJ were friends b- like back then in middle school. Like they were a lot closer.
Gosh, they were so annoying together.
And and I know like high school. I don't remember Wade in high school. Like
We had him in our I had him in FFA,
mm,
but that's all that I yeah, I had him in FFA. That was kind of it.
yeah.
Um anyways, another story from 7th grade. Uh there were these three girls, and me and Maria had the same 7th grade homeroom. There were these three girls in our homeroom class, and I'm just going to say their initials. So, this one girl she moved into our school that year, and like kind of instantly clicked with like me and Maria and some of the other kids in our grade. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm, I don't.
Her name starts with a C. I'm just gonna say because well, anyways,
Okay.
so she is. I'm gonna call her C for this story. She's friends with these two other girls. Their names are K and B. Well, they became a little like trio kinda, I guess. And like they would sit together all the time and they'd talk together all the time and like hang out in class and stuff. Well, they started their own like little like club, and they would like write on each other in like pen and Sharpie, and they called it like BCK or something like that. And some girl like tattled on them and said that they started a KKK club.
Oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yes. And they
That
got in
was
like huge
crazy.
they got in huge trouble for it because they were like writing and to be so honest, this is 7th grade, they probably were making KKK jokes. But yeah, they were writing like BCK on each other, and like I think they were writing on the desks and stuff, and they got in so much trouble. Um
It was
and
also like this is kind of random, but like it made me think of it. Like that was also the time where we were doing like the eraser challenge, where people would
yes.
literally take an eraser and make themselves bleed.
Yes. Ugh,
Remember that?
gross. Yes, I do.
That was so weird. Like, why would they do? Like, what was the point in that?
No idea. Um, I have an idea. We are coming up on 40 minutes, Maria. Let's think of a couple more middle school stories, and then we can save our high school stories for next time. That way we can like separate it.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see.
okay, I do have one story. There was this guy. There was this guy. I could not stand him. Okay, I had no backbone for the longest time. I still don't really have a backbone. I don't like confrontation. I don't like being mean to people. I don't like hurting people's feelings. I just don't like doing it. I feel like if I don't have to hurt someone's feelings, I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Well,
Mhm.
there was this guy in 7th grade. He was in my 7th grade homeroom, and I was friendly towards him because I was friendly towards everybody. It's not that I was being fake. I guess it was a little bit, but like it's not that my intention was to be fake. It's just he would always sit next to me, and it's like I would try and move away from him, and he would follow me, and it's like I didn't want to be mean. I didn't want to, Well, this kid was very like he was just weird. Like I remember people would tell me stories, you would tell me stories about going to church with him and he was being really weird, like really creepy towards his own like younger sister.
Mhm.
This kid also used to he wouldn't stand during the Pledge of Allegiance, and it was kind of like he's the kid that like if he reached for his backpack, everybody would flinch. You know what I mean?
Uh,
But yeah, he used to I remember this is a high school. I mean, this is a high school memory. But he was in my senior year of high school. My first period was like government. He used to sit in front of me, and in front of him was the American flag. We would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance every morning, and wouldn't say the Pledge of Allegiance, but I'd still stand and like put my hand over my heart like I'm supposed to. And he used to just sit there, and it was so funny because everybody would just stare like kind of at him because he's under the flag. It was so funny. But anyways, one time in 7th grade, he was getting really ticked off about something. I don't know if somebody was picking on him or if he was just moody, or I don't know what it was. But a teacher asked him to do something, or she noticed he was pissed off, and he had this like scowl on his face, and he was like his eyebrows were furrowed and he's super pissed off. The teacher tells him to do something, and he literally grabs his pencil, and like he's got his pencil in his right hand, and he makes a fist and like breaks the pencil in his hand. And the teacher was like, "Leave the room, leave the." She,
they knew he was gonna be like an anger issue.
yes, she was like, "Leave the room right now. That's unacceptable." She broke a pencil.
He's working at the Dollar General now.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. What did he change his name to?
I don't know if I need to
Tobias.
say. Oh,
It's okay. It's okay.
he's he's thriving.
He's thriving. Um. Anyways, I had another story, but I kind of forgot it. Oh. Okay, I don't remember the story at all, but I was asking around people that we went to school with for stories the other day, and a friend of mine texted me this story, and it was kind of making me laugh because I was like, this story is so unserious. So our 8th grade year, we used to have our teachers didn't like to teach, basically, or the curriculum was different. I don't really remember what it was, but we
It
used
was
to
all
grab,
online.
yeah, we used to grab Chromebooks starting in 8th grade, and we'd have this thing called iReady, and it was like super annoying. Um, it was like super annoying work that we had to do. It was like math and English, and we did it all on Chromebooks, and they would give us a sheet, and they'd tell you to do an already lesson and do it on the sheet, and you had to complete so many. I remember I only did like 2 or 3 of them like throughout the entire year. I would sit on the same one, and I would just sit there and not do it because I was like, this sucks. Or I would do the same one over and over. And I'd get to the end of it and hit replay so I didn't have to turn in a sheet. And they didn't even care, really. Um but
Yeah.
anyways, so we had to like take the Chromebooks out of the tray. Like we had to take them out, unplug them, and like use them, and then we'd plug them back in. And we had to like sign which one we were using.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know why it's 8th grade. Um, my a friend of mine. Uh, for an inside joke, I'm gonna call her Pablo. Um, so Pablo, I texted her the other day, and she told me, she said, so I wasn't in her class, but I was called into her class by the teacher, and I could not stand this teacher. I don't think you could stand this teacher. She just drove me crazy. Um,
You talking
Twitchy.
about Nick Twitch?
Yep,
Yeah.
twitchy. Um, for this teacher had a weird like neck twitch that she would do all the time, and everybody used to make fun of her for it. Um, Kind of scary too. Anyways,
Yeah.
she's mean, so I don't really care to make fun of her. Uh, anyways, I go in this classroom. I'm called in this classroom, and all these kids are watching me. And she goes, I don't even know. I don't really remember what I did, but this is just what I was told. So apparently, the Chromebook that I had been using in that class, something was wrong with it. And I remember who it was too. The girl that had it. It was Queen Bee of our class. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Yep. So she got my Chromebook, and I think what I did was I swapped the keys on it. Like I swapped the F and the G key,
Mhm.
and they tracked it back to me. And I came in there, and being an idiot, they were like, "What did you do to this Chromebook?" And I was like, she said I said it in the most like with the straightest face and the most serious tone. I was like, I got on YouTube. And the teacher tore into me. She was like, "Why would you do that? You know you're not supposed to do that, blah, blah, blah." And I basically told on myself for nothing because they had no idea that I even did that. Um, they were just like, "Why'd you swap the keys?" And I was like, "Oh." And I pulled the keys out and swapped them back, and I was like, "There you go." And she was like, "Don't ever do that again," and like verbally just like yelled at me. And then she was like, "Go." And I went
Oh,
back to my
like
class.
YouTube
Oh,
was like awful in middle school. Like they looked at it as like it was a part of the seven deadly sins. Like
oh,
it was
I take it back. I'm looking at the text that she sent me about it. Apparently, I got 3 days of ISS for that.
yeah, it's crazy. Over YouTube.
Yeah, and switching the keys. Like I didn't do anything to it. I swapped them back so easy. Like it's not like I damaged them, but I get it. But still, I thought the punishment was a little extreme.
Right.
Um. Anyways,
Anyway,
you have another story?
not from middle school. I don't remember much. You remember more than I do from middle school.
Oh, I do have I have two stories. Our seventh grade year, our science teacher, he had to be out for I think it was just a day he had to be out, and we had this substitute. And now this substitute, she was young. Like she was like fresh out of college at this point. She was like she was a jock. She was like a basketball player. I think she is a basketball coach now. I'm not really sure. I don't keep up with
Mhm.
her. But she was a sub in our county, and we would see her every now and then. And every time we got her as a sub, we were always so excited because she was so chill and like funny, and like she didn't really care what we did. And I remember the first time we had her as a sub, it was seventh grade because I think that was her first year. And this kid, um, this kid asked to go get a snack out of the snack machine, and she like threw a wad of paper at him and was like, "If you throw this in the trash can and make it, you can go get a snack out of the snack machine." And he threw it and missed, so she came up and took his doll.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was so funny.
Yeah, she took his dollar, and he was so mad. He was so mad. She
And
was
he's
like,
getting married.
yeah. But anyways, we had her for our science teacher one day, and we were just chilling, and I don't even think we did anything that day. I think she just talked to us the entire day. Or we had like a worksheet we were supposed to do, and it was like 10 questions. It was something easy. And she just like talked to us and let us chill the whole day. But I do remember Bailey that we were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
This teacher, the sub, comes up to Bailey and like she like tapped her or touched her or something, like just like on the arm. Like I think she just tapped her or something like that. Well, the next day we come into class, and our teacher was like, "How was the sub? Were you guys good for the sub?" And our science teacher, he was really chill and laid back too. Like we didn't really have a problem with him. I thought he was cool. I liked his class because he was very
Yeah,
chill.
I
Well,
did too.
he's like, "Okay, did you guys act up for the sub? Like, were you good?" Like, how was it? And Bailey's like, yeah, she touched me.
Just like so calm, and
So,
she was just
so calm. She's like, yeah, she touched me. And the class is
and
so quiet. And
mind you, our teacher was like he
he got
spoke
the
with his
most,
eyes.
yes, his eyes, he got the most mortified, uh, the most mortified expression, eyes go wide. He goes, she touched you? And Bailey's like, yeah, she touched me. And he was like, where? She was like, oh,
Yeah,
just
he
on the
was
arm.
baffled.
And he was
He
like,
was baffled.
yeah, she was like, oh, just like on the arm. It wasn't nothing. And he was like, oh, thank God. He was like, I thought I was gonna have to file like 10 pages of paperwork.
That's all he cared about was the paperwork.
Yeah, he didn't care. Um,
Yeah. I loved that class.
I just thought of a crazy high school story that I need to write down for next time. But
Ooh.
yeah, I just thought of a crazy story. Um, what? I had another story for 7th grade. I think it was involving a substitute, but I can't remember. Oh, no, it's okay, that same class. Okay, so that class, the science class, was our last class of the day, right?
Mhm.
So this is at the very end of the school day. You would go to you'd have your last class, and then you would go back to homeroom for like what, like 30 minutes, I think it
Yeah,
was.
not
Yeah,
even that, I don't think.
so we had about like 10 minutes before we had to go back to our homeroom, and then we'd be dismissed for the day. So it's very late in the day. We're in science and we're working on a worksheet. It's like super quiet, like there's no music, everybody's working, like the teacher's just chilling. All of a sudden, down the hallway, we hear the ISS teacher screaming, and so we're all like looking around, like everybody jumps up and they're looking around and they're like, what is going on? And this lady's screaming, no, no, come back, stop, stop. And she's screaming this kid's name. I don't want to say his name, but I mean, I don't really think it matters, but I don't want to say his name. But she's screaming his name, and you can hear I remember hearing a door slam, and like you could hear like footsteps running, and you could hear her screaming, and I think you could hear like another voice screaming, and we're all like, what is going on? And the teacher like ran out in the hallway to see what was going on, and I remember kids like coming to the door to see if they could peek out, and we're just like, I'm sitting at my desk going, what is going on? Well, we get 10 minutes go by, and the teacher's like, none of your business, like, whatever, it's fine. We all go back to our homeroom class, and we're sitting down, and I think it was our teacher that told us. I don't remember how we found out, but I think it was our teacher told us. But
Yeah,
basically, this kid
Miss
was in,
J.
yeah, this kid was in ISS, and he made a break for it. They were having a bathroom break, and he like while they were out of the room, he just like ran for the doors. He ran for the front doors.
Middle
And
school, y'all. Middle
middle
school.
school, he was like 14, but he was like one of the bad kids. Like he would get in trouble all the time, and like he would act out, and like he thought he acted ghetto, but he wasn't even like, I don't know. But for context, so our where we went to middle school, there's a gas station like right next to it a little bit. This kid ran outside the school, and he almost made it to the gas station.
I wouldn't say next to. It was probably like a good
Well,
half a mile.
there was a field. No, there was a field right next to our school, and on the other side of the field was the gas station. So yeah, it was right next
Yeah,
to it. This
yeah.
kid made a break for it, and he ran like through the field, and our vice principal at the time chased him out, and they made it all the way almost to the gas station before our vice principal tackled him. And then him and our him and our SRO officer like brought him back. But it was crazy. I remember hearing about it and being like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, it was like the talk of the town for like a week.
Yeah.
It was so crazy.
It was crazy. Oh my gosh. I also remember our music teacher that everybody hated.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Everybody hated music so much because he was so annoying, and it's like we don't care.
And he didn't even try and make it interesting either. Like it was so boring, and he made it feel like I don't know. It was so
The time
boring.
went by so slow in that class. And he made
Yeah.
us watch that Beethoven Lives Upstairs. Like every year we'd have to watch it again.
Mm.
And I also remember our guidance counselor made us she wouldn't instead of like having a guidance lesson or like talking to us about stuff or whatever, she would just turn on Girl Meets World and be like, "Y'all watch this and learn from it."
Literally every single time.
And I kind of didn't mind it because it's like Girl Meets World is not something that I would go and sit down and watch like in my free time. But like as a kid, I didn't mind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a class where we just sit and watch TV.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode.
Um, Maria, before we go, I just have a couple questions for you.
Hmm.
What'd you eat today?
Oh, what did I eat today? I didn't eat breakfast. For lunch, I had Taco Bell. I had like those dipping burritos. They're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
With a Baja Blast and a hard taco.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
How'd you
then I
how
can
would you rate that out of 10?
the Baja Blast a 10.
Mm-hmm. 10
I
out of
love
10
those.
hug barrels.
Yep. The dipping burritos, I feel like I give them like a 8 out of 10. I don't know off, but I feel like Taco Bell is always like that though. Like the flavors kind of, I don't know.
Depends on which one you
And
go to, yeah.
yeah, and then the hard taco is like a 9 out of 10. It's pretty good.
Nice. What else do you eat
Um,
today?
I didn't really eat supper because um I had chocolate dipped strawberries to do. I have my own little business. So I did those. So I just kind of snacked.
Mm-hmm.
I made like this corn dip. Pretty good. I snacked on that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I've ate today.
Are you gonna eat before you go to bed?
No, I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go straight to bed.
All right. And then we gotta do our song of the week.
Hmm.
Do you have your song of the week ready, or do you need a minute?
You go ahead and go. I'm gonna get it pulled up because I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, my song of the week, and it's just been it's been stuck in my head, and I keep doing the little like, cause it's like a trend on TikTok where people are putting the sound to it, and they're just like dancing, and they're kind of just freestyling. Uh,
Hmm.
but my song of the week is "She Will" by Lil Wayne and Drake.
Okay. Mine is a classic. Have you ever seen the rain by Credence Clearwater Revival?
Mm-hmm. You were singing that the other day.
Yep, I sure was.
Mhm. Over and over.
Yep, stuck in my head.
All
But
right.
anyway, thanks for
I
listening, everybody.
Yeah, that is about it
If
for
you've
us
made it this
tonight.
far,
Tune in next Friday. I think next Friday we're gonna pick it up with high school stories, right? Just all high
yeah,
school stories.
probably. Yep,
I can't think of any more relevant stories from middle school. If I do, we'll probably do them at the beginning and get them out of the way. But I feel like I have so much like high school stuff to talk about, so I think we can do this one's a good middle school one, and we have so many high school ones to talk about.
for sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Next Friday will be High School Stories, so tune in for that one as well. This has been the All Jokes Aside podcast. Don't forget to follow our Instagram, like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all your feedback and all of your support as always, so we can continue making new episodes and grow our channel here and there. But yeah, this is it for this one. Peace out.
Bye, guys.